Today in the amp vault, the Marshall JCM 2000 DSL 100. Before we start, a big shout out to Sebastian from D-Night Audio, because this is actually his amp and he was kind enough to borrow it so I can review it. So if you want to support Sebastian, check out D-Night Audio. They make some awesome IRs and I even have a code, Nightbearer. You can save some money. The DSL 100 is an amp by Marshall. I think you're familiar with the name. And it's basically a 2-channel amp with 4 different voicings. And we do have a 3-band EQ, we do have a presence control, we have an additional depth switch, then we have a tone shift switch, and we have, for basically each channel, 2 different modes. For the clean channel we have an additional crunch mode, and for the ultra gain channel we do have gain 1 and gain 2. And we also have a reverb that can be different between the clean channel, clean crunch channel, and the ultra gain channel. So we start with the clean channel, and as you can see the signal is quite low, so let's increase the volume. Here we can see a peak at 140, a gap at 350, and a really high peak at 6K, 5 to 6K. So when we increase the gain, also increase it. So let's leave it at noon so that we can actually see something and focus on the EQ. We start with presence. Treble. Very subtle, but that's common for amps. Now mid. Barely doing anything. Now let's activate the depth. This gives us a huge peak. So what does tone shift do? Smoothens out the mids and the bass. But since they are so subtle, we can't see if it changes the way they work. It just seems to be a volume difference, maybe compression. So we switch over to the crunch channel. Now we have mids, way more volume. Well, we switch to ultra gain 1. And now lead 2. Let's actually see what the tone shift is here. Yeah, seems to work just the same. Same for depth. So for the playthrough I use my unit CTU7. This goes directly into the amplifier, and from there we go into my Zur reactive load box and then into an interface. I've loaded an IR loader with the D-Night Audio standard IR from their Holy Grail Musicians pack. That's a rather classic Marshall sound. Not as classic as the JCM 800, but still classic enough, if you ask me. So what can I say? I like the sound. It's not... Actually, it's not tailored for low tunings, at least without a pedal. You kind of hear it when you crank the bass or crank the depth. It really gets muddy. And when I dial back the bass to about 9 o'clock, it works fine. The mid, presence and treble controls are rather subtle, so I would have preferred if they were a bit more active, but that's probably just me, and it's for most of you it's fine. The tone shift I really like because you basically get another sound with the tone shift deactivated or disengaged. It's mid forward, you can really push the mids if you want, and then tone shift basically cuts the mids. At least that's what it sounds. The 4 gain stages, I don't know if I really need all 4. I think the ultra gain, lead 1 and lead 2 are very similar. It's basically just a tiny bit of more gain. I actually can't hear this much of a difference. As for clean and crunch, I think that's totally okay. The reverb is a nice addition. However, I prefer delay. But all amps, if they have built-in effects, it's most of the time reverb. There's nothing more that I can tell you about this amp, but what can you tell me about this amp? Do you use it? If so, with what effects do you use it? I have a video coming where I will put some effects into this amp, and I think it will sound good. So, if you have any comments, comment section. And if you want to support this channel, check out the links in the description, or you might want to consider becoming a YouTube member. And with this being said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. May the power protect you, and have a nice day.